July 10th, 2023, Carroll County Public Service Authority meeting to order. I'd ask Mr. McCraw to lead us in invocation and pledge, please.
Let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity to gather together. Lord, we just ask that you watch over us, protect us, and guide us. Lead us through this meeting and conduct business in your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It looks like we have two that signed up for citizens' time. Tony Hall, if you want to come first.
Thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to speak today. I have 3 issues that I'd like to speak with you first, if I may.
Sure.
I only made 1 copy of those because the printer printed so badly. I live at 410 Reedside Drive in Fancy Gap. Right directly across from my house is a fire hydrant. As you can see on those 2 pictures, about 3 weeks ago, you couldn't see the fire hydrant for the weeds and the lack of maintenance around said fire hydrant. Then we trimmed it the next day, and that picture, the other picture, was taken this morning. Again, the weeds have grown up around the fire hydrants, and you can't see them. Now, heaven forbid, please, dear Lord, don't ever let it happen, but should there be a fire at my house, there's going to be a delay in the fire department hooking up to the fire hydrants because they can't see them. They don't know it's there. Your maintenance men, I have a pump house about 250 yards from our house. They're out there 5 times a day, 5 days a week. I promise you, you can come sit on my front porch and watch. The PSA trucks drive by there every day, at least 5 times a day. And nobody stops to clear these fire hydrants. So that is issue 1. I would like for you all to please work on a schedule with your maintenance men to get these fire hydrants cleaned up. They're not on anybody's property. They're on the road easements. So therefore, technically it's not the citizens' responsibility to trim around the fire hydrants and keep them visible for the fire departments and emergency services personnel. It's the PSA's responsibility. And this has been going on for years. I've had numerous conversations with Mr. McCraw. I had talked to another board member during his run for election, and nothing's been done. It continues to be the same way. And for our safety, if we have to maintain, I'm going to send you a bill. I know you're probably not going to want to pay it, but it's only in fairness. If I have to do the county's job, then I should get paid to do the county's job. The second issue is the pump station in itself, and that involves issues 2 and 3. It has very recently been brought to my attention that this pump station out on Reedside Drive does not have backup generator services. That it is one of the 3 or 4 in the county that you all had requested to buy a portable generator for. I'm in the county. If for some reason we lose that power grid and somebody out there has a fire, then those fire hydrants don't work because they don't have water. How do we do this? How does this work? Is it really the case that that pump station does not have a permanent backup generator system to it? And if that is true, then the county really needs to look into taking some tax money. PSA needs to do something to get all of these pump stations emergency backup generator systems. That's the citizen safety issue.
So right there.
And my last concern is the septic system coming out of that pump station. That pump station is across the road from my house. Like I said, probably maybe 250 yards, but it is across the road. And when that pump station was put in, the money that was to be used to obtain the permits and do the construction and the work to bring the septic system to our side of the street, which is the side of the road that has all the houses on, was sent out to the Joy Ranch area. Now, we all know why, so we won't discuss that. But I have a pump house 250 yards from my house and I cannot use a septic system. I can't hook to your county septic system. You're losing money, and I'm losing a very valuable service. Why can't we figure out how to fix this? Like I said, on Reedside Drive, if you're coming off of Chances Creek on Reedside Drive, the majority of your houses are on the right. There's very few houses on the left. And the new construction that's been out there, he just put in a massive septic system. So he's not gonna need to hook to it, but he's on the side of the road that he could hook to it. I'm not. So what I'm requesting of the board is to please look into these issues. Please work a schedule with your maintenance crew to get these fire hydrants visible. By the way, they need to be painted. To get them visible for our emergency services personnel to, heaven forbid, in the event, they have an ease of access to them. And to look into the generator system for the pump station, and also as to why we cannot connect to the septic system for the county. Thank you all for your time.
Wait a minute,
Go ahead.
would you
Yeah.
promise sewer when they come through there?
Yes. Yes, we were all, and not to bring up an ugly subject, this dead horse has been beat more times than I care to mention, but we were also lied to about our meters. We were told we could have as many meters on our property as we wanted to have, and it wouldn't cost us a thing. So we put 2 meters on our property, one down next to the garage and one up next to the house. Well, we pay for 2 meters now, even though one of them we don't even use. Well, we didn't use. I use it now to water my garden, because if I'm gonna be charged for 3,000 gallons, I should at least get something out of that. But when they came through with the lines, yes, we were told we would be able to hook to the septic. And if you look back through your records, you'll see that 1/4 of an acre of property that was bought and paid for that pump house, they paid a very, very, very large amount of money.
And I do. Did you have anything else, Mr. Good?
I'm done.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions. on
Sure,
that.
go ahead.
Mike, in regards to Ms. Hall's comments, do you want to speak on the pump stations as far as the water side of it? How that would work?
As long as there's water in the tank, there's
Yeah.
gravity fee.
Yeah.
So
The generators are for the sewer side.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I was told the generators were for the water side.
They're for the sewer side.
I can live with
I just
that.
wanted him to
Yeah.
speak on behalf of that, just so there wasn't no miscommunication. I do appreciate you bringing them issues to our attention.
Yeah, because if,
Yeah.
you know, if they can't get water out of, if they have to kill the grid, the electrical
Yeah.
grid, then, you know,
Yeah, it would be, if they did that, it would be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, that it would just be the sewer side.
right.
And then it would fill up into the manholes and whatnot.
I can live with that.
Yeah, but the water, as long as there's water in the tanks and stuff, and the pumps, have the tanks, you would still have water.
But if the pump went dry and the electric was off, then there would be no water in the tank, then the fire
Yeah.
department would have to bring in a tanker and run it down to the creek.
Yeah, that would be a horrible situation.
That would be pretty rough.
Yeah, yeah. But the way the water side of it is, I didn't want you to think one way and it be, just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify that.
well, and that's why I asked, you know,
Yeah, I just
correct
wanted
me
to
if I'm
clarify
wrong.
that,
Yeah.
But the generators are for only the sewer side,
Right.
yeah, so.
And Tony, it's like you said,
Sure did.
we did address this one time
Yeah.
before.
Yes, we have addressed
And-
the hydrants. You and I have
Yes.
addressed the hydrants
Yes.
several times.
And I thought it was on a schedule where it was supposed to be taken care of. Is this one of the hydrants that they would have checked here recently, or?
No, they actually started on Fancy Gap today.
Okay,
They
Well-
finished Carroll County, and Bill is going to start not working as much as he has been. He's our part-time gentleman anyway. He's gotten older, and so he's training Michael to do Fancy Gap, and they actually started Fancy Gap today.
okay.
Well, I will tell you, the last time that they came out and flushed it, I didn't get a picture of it because it was a couple days before I noticed it when I stopped at the mailbox. They had literally stomped the weeds around the hydrant, opened it up, let it run, and left. And they never came back. That's how they flushed it the last time they flushed it. They just stomped down the weeds. So we have been mowing and trimming and that sort of stuff, but like I said, sorry, but that's getting a little old.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Tony.
Jason Burnett.
Thanks for seeing me. It's nice to see y'all start out with prayer and the pledge of allegiance. Not really prepared for this, kind of short notice. Y'all heard a little bit. There's several residents live down Hideaway Road, need some access to county water. Wells are going dry. I know that the person I'm here for, she's had at least 3 wells feeding into her house, and she's had, well, the property has, and then her property has had to feed another property to her right since, I don't know, 1973 or whenever the house was built. Brian Carter's had some troubles with his well. Heather Sodes is going dry right now. Some people over the hill on, I guess, Sunset. I know some people over the ridge. Some of they're having some issues too. Maybe if we had county water going through there, it might alleviate some of their supply problems. I don't know. You can't tell what the earth's like under there, but I don't know. I'm just asking that y'all allow or put in some county water down that road. I don't know. It's about as simple as I can make it.
Hideaway and Sunset?
Hideaway Road is, yeah.
Sunset
The
Bank.
3, yeah, Sunset's having issues too, but we haven't talked to anybody on there, and we've only talked to 3 people in on Hideaway, and all 3 want it. Heather's about 400 feet down the road from the line already. Brian Carter's about 200 feet.
Where's that at, Tracy?
It's off of 620.
Where?
Near Stone's Grocery.
Daniel Carter, he's on down there. He might be about 200 yards down the road. He wants it too, but, and we haven't talked to the other residents, which I know there are at least 2 more, and then a rental property.
Anybody live in Cass's house?
I talked to Chester Carter, and I'm not sure, but I think they're pulling from, no, nobody lives in it now.
Okay,
But I think they're pulling from a spring way down in the mountain, and
Okay.
then they've got a jet pump too to have to pull it all the way from up there. So in the future, maybe somebody would hook up to it there. I don't know.
So it's about 400 foot to one house and then 200 further? So 600 would cover 2 from
Yeah.
where we're existing?
Yeah, the first guy down wants it. He's about 200, and then her, she's probably, I don't know, I'd say 450. And she wants it for sure. And we haven't talked. I'm here today because we thought maybe it might speed things up by about 3 months or something before y'all have your next meeting. We haven't talked to the other people
Yeah.
down the road yet, so
Yeah.
we don't know, if they want it or not. But yeah, there's kids living down that road and wells going dry. So. And when it's pumping dirt, iron, sulfur smell,
yeah.
not too healthy. That's about all I got, gentlemen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll definitely look into it.
All right.
Did you leave your number with Mike or?
Yeah, she's got
Got
that.
it.
So,
Okay.
No, no.
Okay.
appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I have a motion to approve section A, B, and C altogether or separate.
Mr. Chair, go ahead, Tracy.
I'll make that motion with A, B, and C.
Have a motion for A, B, and C to have a second.
Second.
All right, have a second. Start the voting. Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
and I vote yes. That'll bring us to new business, project update. Mike, if you want to take over.
Okay, the first one, Exit 1 Kano Water System Interconnection, we've had that grant in. Hopefully around September, we'll hear something. On the Exit 1 Regional Wastewater Project, we did have one meeting with, we've had an in-person meeting with Mount Airy. Most likely going to have one again on Thursday this week with NCDOT and Mount Airy to determine things, allocations, also who's going to lead the project. Just to be honest with you, when you, it's like VDOT or NCDOT or those type things, they have a lot of rules and regulations. So it might be something as we go through it, we might be the lead on it. So we're just going to have those conversations and see which one's the best one. But it seems like everybody is on the page of wanting to do it. So it's It's just working out the details and determining what the cost will be and how it's allocated to make sure location of the pump station, those type things, and who will maintain them and how you do that.
If we take the lead on it, what would that consist of?
We would, just to be honest with you, the engineering company that we would hire, they would do the, most of the work, organize it. They'd do pretty much everything. We would be the person that managed the money for it. So we would receive our grant money, the loan money. We'd receive I can't think of the name right now, payments that need to go out, and we just manage it financially.
Who would oversee the construction of it?
I mean, it'd be us, but an engineer would be the one that does most of the work.
Okay.
To be honest with you, when you get in these projects, it'll be bid out to procure an engineer, and then once the engineer, they'll do the contract management of it. They'll submit the payment request, and then we'll request the money from NCDOT. I think, from my understanding, they're looking at replacing the Welcome Center right across the line. So in that project, this is something they can roll into the payment side of it. So they've been real good to work with, both NCDOT and Mount Airy. So I'll know a little bit more later on this week. Any other questions? All right, Exit 1 plan update. We've put new diffusers in it. We're still working with our third party to try to be in compliance. We're hoping the numbers get a little better, but the last few results we've had, it hasn't been. We've fixed the problems. We've gotten spares. We've done all that we're supposed to do so far on the consent order, but getting those numbers down is going to be the difficult part. So we are doing some additional testing, and we took one of our staff and made them kind of the go-to point between what needs to be fixed, what needs to be looked at with the person that's giving us some guidance on how to run the plant. Okay. Next item, SCADA. They've come and evaluated all the sites. I'm waiting for a detailed contract that tells exactly what they're going to do at each site. I've requested a contract so we're both on the same page. So as we go down on the road, it ain't you were supposed to do this and I'm supposed to do that. I want to cross my T's, dot my I's. So when they go to a site and they're going to put telemetry in or they're going to fix something, I want to know what those things are. So it just keeps us both honest. So as soon as I get that, the money's already been allocated and we'll turn that project loose. We are, and just to let you know as we go along, when we have our, I had the SCADA put on my phone and I'm getting a lot of beeps because they fixed a couple of them and you find out that there's things that weren't repaired in the past. So you might have a high-level limit that needs to be adjusted. So every so often it'll go up and come down, or so you get a lot of alerts. But that lets you know what needs to be repaired. So we're able to start making those repairs more often.
Really, all we're supposed to provide anyway is contacts, isn't it?
Do what now?
Shouldn't we just provide the contacts for the height and depth and amps and stuff like that? Shouldn't they do everything else?
Well, the SCADA will notify us that we had two pumps. I'll just give you an example. We have two pumps in at a pump station,
Yeah.
and one of them's out. It's been out for a while, wasn't repaired. The other one's working. So now you can get an alert saying that,
That's two sets of contacts is all that is.
well, the pump's not working. It needs to be repaired.
Yeah.
So a pump will go out. It gives me the opportunity to say, why am I getting these alerts? Why is this? Why do we have something that's not fixed?
Yeah.
Why? So it gives me the opportunity to go in and say this. we need to repair this. What, you know, call our contractor that does the work, that works on the motor, because the motor's out. It's telling us that there's a fault there. So,
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. They put 80-some contacts in over at Christiansburg. And I provided the electricity and the antennas for all of them, so. But it just boils down to contacts is all it is. The pump's running or it's not running.
correct. The problem is
Correct.
the pump's not running.
Well, that's when you check on it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we're working on getting those people out there to do the work. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to figure out, you know, the contacts, it's telling you that the height's too high or something like that. Well, the pump's not kicking on. Or we had a VFD put in and we had to call them to come program the VFD because the VFD, when the pumps alternate from one to another, the one that was recently replaced, it doesn't kick off on the elevation level, so it has to be programmed within the VFD. And what I'm saying is, it is showing us areas in which we need to repair. And as we go along with the SCADA and as things get fixed and you have more of this, you'll have,
Now, this gonna be run through internet or through RF?
it'll be a little bit of both. Well, there's some sites that'll be run through cell, and then some will run through the two-way service, through RF.
All right.
Any other questions?
I do have a question now, Kanan, and I apologize, I know I've asked this before and I haven't got my notes. What would keep us from pumping that down there, Kanan, taking it and putting it in there? I know you answered that one time. Putting it in a manhole somewhere and pumping it, getting it taken care of.
Town don't want it.
Well, they ain't the only one we send sewer to.
They don't want it.
We send the Hills on Gaylight.
And not take the gate light. Hills don't want it.
What keep us from doing that though?
Also, permit.
The permit says that we can take it to Galax, buying a truck and spending the money and going through that. Our sludges, we're at, you know, you're doing about 8 to 10,000 gallons a day. So, I mean, you buy a 5,000 gallon truck and you pump it twice a day and you'd be cheaper off. It costs you, for them to come pump, it's about $1,000.
Right.
So, I mean, we could, but just cost, you know, right now I think, had we gone back to once every 2 weeks yet? Or we're doing it once a week still? We're still doing it once a week now. Pumping it and they're coming and hauling.
Well, that's
Well-
$4,000 a month.
Huh?
That's $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
But
But
if
if
take
you,
long, I can hire somebody and get a vehicle.
yeah. But hopefully we'll get past that.
But I
we
mean,
ain't
just
there
to
yet.
keep you in compliance, I mean, it's, we're spending a lot of money down there already, but I don't know.
And it might come to that.
And we're spending a lot of money getting ready to send it to Mount Airy. So when they pump it down once a week, does it take it down back, all the sludge and stuff out, back down to where it's pretty good to start with?
There's a lot of issues. And I hate to say it that way.
Well, I mean, this might be for Dana, but I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around it, Dana.
Like today when they came in, Friday, Cody told me plant looks good.
Yeah.
Today they come in and it looks horrible.
But
Of course,
I want-
you
I
could
want-
expect that, I guess.
And I want to go back just a little bit further, Dana. Whenever I was employed back in 2013 to 16, Donald and them run it, and the gentleman from Chicago that passed away.
Don.
Yeah, and we never had out of compliance. Is it something changed as far as the facility or the flow coming in? That's the part that I'm trying to understand. Because I mean, I know we got Mr. Jennings and we got the guy from Whitfield. We got good people working on it. I mean, I'm not.
Flow has changed as far as what Love's is using when they started,
Uh-huh.
as far as it's more,
Right.
a lot more. One issue speak to later, but,
Yeah,
you know, David, probably the best operator we had down there was David Wood. You know how much
Absolutely,
David
yes,
was.
yes.
He was there,
absolutely.
but he's been, I don't know how long David's been gone, it's been quite a while.
It was 2016 about the time I left.
Yeah, and at that time, and we can pull the usage, but it was less. But you also had a very good operator, you know.
Right. Okay.
I think it's
That's
the
that's the
rate
part that
of,
I'm just trying to wrap my head around. Back then, we may have pumped it once a month.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah,
we're
once
pumping
a
it
month,
4
we
times
got
a
it.
month, and we're still in violation, and, you know.
And our consent orders asked us to pump it once a week.
Has the flows increased?
Yes.
I mean, I know they have increased, but have they increased
A
that
lot.
I mean, that much over that period of time?
When the plant first started being operated, it was around 200, maybe not even 200,000 a month, and now it's like 300 plus. So it is a big, and of course they installed the laundromat too, and I think
I
a lot of it.
I think maybe we ought to look at setting a rate higher for just them.
We did.
Did last.
I mean,
We need no more than that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need to, you know, they, like you said, they've added a laundromat.
Mhm.
Is that rate based on flow?
Yes.
When we did our last rate adjustment, anything over a certain amount throughout our system, it increased, I'm wanting to say $30,000 a year, maybe a little bit more. We looked at the cost of what it was to operate the plant and then rolled that over into our rate.
Did we have any issues with Love's at that point when we raised the rate on them?
I don't know.
About them complaining?
Mhm.
No.
See, we're not even making, just pumping it. We're not even recovering any extra cost.
Yeah.
We're spending it all on pumping it.
And then we've got labor and man hours and
Yep.
caustic acid and on and on. And
I don't see why we can't raise it again for them till we get this situation resolved where we're hooked up and going to Mount Airy, if that's what happens, but.
From what I understand, and I don't know, but isn't that about the only one that Love's don't run their own pump station?
It's one of the few. A lot of them, several of them, when they go in, they have to do that.
It's been a while
Or
since.
pre-treatment.
And I've not seen that contract that that board did back then with them and all, but I think it comes a time that we get Durbin to look at it and see if we can bring them in and have a discussion, you know?
And I have spoke to them in the past. I haven't seen a contract with Love's. I think that they were just a customer that was put in at the time that it was in. So that's the reason why you have to get kind of creative with your rates as far as what you're treating in sewer and the way it's done.
I agree with Tracy. I think we need to,
Well, lost me somewhere
see
along
if we
the
can
way.
bring him in and talk to him.
What are we gonna
Something.
gain by raising the rates? We still can't handle the amount.
No.
We still got, that's
We
just
just
it.
recover our.
We're
costs
covering some
somehow.
costs is all we can do.
Well,
That's all we can do.
But at the
we
end of the
still
day, we're
gotta-
still in violation.
yeah, we still got a problem. I don't care if you raised it, what you raised it to, you.
And I know we've had several people look at this to see what we could do, and we've just not been able to hit on the right, the right combination to get it fixed, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, there comes a time.
There's somebody out there that's gotta have an answer somewhere, I would think. I mean,
Comes a time we put in a septic system somewhere.
Well,
right.
you know, I hate,
Like we need to do that anyway.
You know, I drove a lot this weekend, and I was going through farm country and different things, and there'd be a big factory. There's not a sewer line there.
They've put in.
Gotta
a septic-
build something.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I don't know, it's just,
Is that something we've even considered, just putting in a septic system there?
I don't know if a septic system would do 10,000 gallons a day.
Could we maybe have someone come look at it and give us an idea on it?
Well, we've talked to the engineers that have built it. Gary, that's I've checked on him. He's one of the best operators and knows it well. I guess, I'm trying not to throw money at it just to try to fix the problem. So as this goes along, if it's retention, then you're into putting in a stabilization basin that will fill up and go down as you need it, okay? But then you get into, you got to put a large enough one in there to handle it, and then you've got to keep it stirred up so it doesn't go septic. And then once it goes septic, you really got a problem. So I mean, it's, you know, we're limping through it, you know. A lot of we've replaced just about every diffuser in there. There's one more section that has a diffuser to put air into it, which we weren't doing before. You know,
And I don't know, but I know a lot of them, if you go to them, that's about the only one that's under roof.
yes,
And I've always been told that that has to do a lot with keeping the bugs from doing their problem.
and it could be.
Is there, we build a high enough roof that don't mess with the smell and take the roof off? I mean, the doors is open.
Yeah, yeah. We open the doors up, and you know, one of the issues. I mean,
Is that something we could consider doing?
I could
too?
take the roof off it, but then the neighbor's going to complain about the smell even worse. I mean,
Right.
I'm throwing it out there. When if you've ever been on there on a Monday, when after the weekend's gone through,
Right, and
mean, it's not a lunch.
we're not armchair quarterbacking, we're just trying to throw solutions out there.
oh,
to help.
absolutely. I'll take all the
Man.
help I can get on this thing. You know, we're ordering new equipment. You know, maybe it's to go in and hire another operator to put in there during the times that we're running it. So you have two operators trying to work through the problem or something. I don't know if, you know, maybe look out and see if you can find people. Operating a normal general plant is a lot different than a package plant. I mean, it's the concept's the same, but it's not. I mean, when you're running, you know, 200,000 gallons through a day through a plant, you're doing a different issue than what you're doing when you're having such I'm gonna say a small amount of inflows that doesn't have the other stuff in it. So, I mean, if you had, you know, 400 people and you had a Love's, I mean, you wouldn't have these issues.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've even considered possibly just taking that well out there and pumping it in there also, but I was led to believe that that's not going to help my issue too.
I don't think so.
Dana, you said that when the operator left on Friday, it all looked good. When they got back on Monday, it was a mess.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's gonna happen with,
Well, my question is, so there's nobody there?
yes.
Yeah,
there's
they
somebody
come on
there-
Saturdays,
There's
Sundays.
somebody there every day.
Yeah, Saturday.
But the flow was so heavy, and you know, it's the fourth weekend, it's gonna be,
A lot of traffic.
yeah.
All you gotta do is ride the interstate on the weekend, especially in the summertime. Wintertime, we don't have an issue problem.
But I mean, I'm like what I've heard several say already. I mean, I've been doing this now a year and 7 months, and the conversation's been the same every time. It's almost like we just scratch our heads and we don't know what to do, and we just keep living with it. The citizens who live there want answers. We're spending buku money already. I don't know. Somebody's got to have an answer to that problem.
But even if we hooked them out there, it'd start on that tomorrow. Probably 6 months, 8 months, something.
It'd be longer than that.
Year and a half, 2 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
You know, if it worked night and
mean-
day.
If turn me loose, we'll fix it. But it's going to cost you. I'm going to give you an honest answer.
how much money you talking?
I don't know. You want to guess? 300,000-400,000.
Oh my gosh, fix it.
How you gonna fix it?
Hire somebody in and do the construction that needs to be done. You know.
300,000 or 400,000 compared to what we're spending in a year's time.
But I mean, this is $300,000-400,000. Probably put an equalization basin in, and then you're going to have somebody to you know, you're going to hire somebody to come in on a 40-hour-a-week basis to run it, you're talking $60,000, $70,000, well, probably more than that. You're probably $80,000, $90,000. So you've got probably, I'm gonna say 300 worth of construction, and you're gonna add another 100,000 on it. And you gotta remember, trying to be conservative with the budget, that we're running a negative anyway. So, I'm gonna say it this way. We can go to the county and tell them, give us some funds, and we'll do it.
I vote we do it. I mean, otherwise we just keep letting it run.
Like I said, it just takes a vote to turn it
And-
loose and
and
spend
we-
the county's money.
And we paid 30 some odd $1,000 in a fine this year.
What was the last one? 56?
Started out at
Yeah,
40 and
30.
went down.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was 36.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like to me with pumping and fines and everything else, we're paying out what you're talking about in a year anyway.
Probably $100,000, but you're gonna be that on top of it. I mean, I don't know a number for you, okay? I don't know a number. But, I mean, if you want it fixed,
Maybe check on the number.
I can check on the number and I'll come back and see what it costs to. I mean, then you go to pumping it out. You can go in and look at the trucks, and they're not cheap, you know?
What if we put it out to bid? We don't have to accept the bid, but we could start the bid process if we knew exactly, and have an idea of what we needed to have done. Just put it out for bid and see what it costs. Then we can make
To,
to do what you were talking about earlier, spend $300,000.
oh, okay, on the.
Holding thing, no.
Yeah, you just put out a bid to do that construction work.
Do we have the land to do that?
Well, that's the next question.
We don't have much, but, I mean, you build a basin, you know, that basin in there is, I had plans on here for the plant. You know, you're looking at 10,000 gallon tank, and you're looking at pumps to put it in there, and then you have to flow it down into it. You know, then, I mean, you've got the power there, but then you've got to add air to it or something to keep it mixed. And then you're gonna hope that you can process it slow enough and hold it long enough in order to try to fix that problem, even though you still have a product that's coming in that is not good.
Right.
I mean, you know,
Let me ask this, Mike. Is it something that we can look at as far as the numbers, what it's gonna cost? And then something we could approach Loves about with it?
absolutely.
Let them know what problems we're having.
I think
Hey,
that's
this
what
is
we
what
need
it's
to
gonna cost to fix it. It's not fair for the citizens of Carroll County to do this. Not fair for the neighbors to deal with it and see what kind of negotiation we can have there.
do. Absolutely.
I mean,
Is that,
I think that's where we need to start.
I think it's a good place to start. I mean, it's,
Get it.
No, we're not picking on rainwater up like this weekend.
absolutely not,
Absolutely not.
not,
Okay.
not the way that system is.
You have a line that runs down,
And then it's in the roof building.
yeah, I mean, you're not getting,
No.
I mean on Love's end. Okay.
Anybody else got anything? All right, Mike, you wanna go to Hillsville Sewer?
yes, we have started pumping sewer to Hillsville. All the leaks seem to be fixed. We were having we've done some drawdowns to try to get to a good number. They've put a temporary meter in to try to compare it to make sure until we can get a meter to put into it. We're waiting on, well, Hillsville's gonna put the meter in. So once they get the correct meter that will meter it, then we'll go to a definite meter wise and then check it. So just to give you an idea, when we first did a drawdown and it was pumping toward Galax, you're about 200 gallons per minute. It's 900 to 1,100, somewhere around that range for it to go to Hillsville because there's no head pressure. So, but we're also, that's one of the ones where the one motor is not working, so we've got to get both motors online and then do some more drawdowns. But they're supposed to be fixing it. I think it was, did they get it fixed? It was going to be, it was a grinder, the thing on the bottom of it?
Not on the deal, it's a little one.
Okay. So we're still pumping there. So that's a good thing. We are diverting flows to Hillsville.
But at this point, you don't know how much.
We have a good idea. Between the meter that's placed in, and we got an insert meter that they were able to put in, and it will meter the flow, and then we'll do the drawdown to make sure that we're real close. But when we finally get a permanent meter in, it'll help.
We should be able to tell over the past few months what we've been sending Galax and what now's
Yes,
subtracted from Galax would be
Yeah.
good. Right?
that's correct.
RFP?
I was just going to let you know, we're going to send out an RFP for as-needed basis for both, we'll include emergency repairs, installation, those type things. Just to bid it out and see if we can get a couple names that we can just call. Just an FYI thing. Old business, fire hydrants, we're still doing the checks on them. As Dana said a few minutes ago, they're starting on another road. We did have an opportunity to go out and check that one at the school. You know, we did a flow on it twice, okay? Flow's fine on it. The only thing that might be is when you go to turn it, they filled about 4 trucks off of it. Tank levels seem to be fine. When you go to spin it, it gets to a point where it seems tight. Maybe it just wasn't spent far enough or something is all we can figure.
They all been had valves on it.
I understand that, but they put a ball valve on the meter from my understanding, but they filled 4 trucks up left, and then when they came back is when they had the issue. So, and then just to save time, I guess they went to another place and drew water, pumped it into a truck. So, but we've checked it twice so far, and can't see why the flow is a problem in it.
How about the next time when we have this problem, let's take a picture of the gauges on them 3 tanks, if it's in that area, so we see where they at. Everybody's got a phone, right?
Say that one more time, I apologize.
Everybody's got a telephone that works for y'all. Take pictures of the gauges, I want to see them.
Well, somebody will have to, let us know, because we don't always know when y'all go out.
A fire that big, you'll because they notify us. Anytime I go to flowing heavy water, they call y'all. They call dispatch.
Well,
Y'all gonna have to work it out dispatch of Galax.
Only other item is one to blow it. What this is this thing through the health department, social services. And what it does is it gives a way for somebody to apply for, to get their water and sewer bill paid. And we've received about $6,000 so far on that. And, a lot of times, it's like during COVID when we had those other funds, you might collect something you don't normally collect. So you got an opportunity to get a few more dollars.
All right, that brings us to authority members' time. I'll start with Mr. Jessup.
I don't really really have anything.
Okay, Mr. Collins?
Couple things just to mention, and I know we're not anywhere near there, but I've got citizens on Flower Gap Road and Meadowbrook Road that are begging for public water, and we go close on both of those. I think it goes down Bear Trail, am I correct?
Flower Gap on
And
one.
Bear Trail comes off, Meadowbrook comes off of Bear Trail, and then Flower Gap, it goes down Flower Gap for about a mile and then goes up by Cedar Lane, but it doesn't go any further, and we've got customers right past there that would love to have water. Meadowbrook's been begging for years. Other than that, just to ask the question, Dana, what is the policy? Ms. Hall said the fire hydrants are not mowed around. What is the policy? Is the county typically go and mow around those, or is that? So there's no policy to mow those. I'm assuming the fire departments know where they're located.
Sometimes
So that,
find them.
so there are times they can't find them. So what do we need to do about that?
One in front of the Sydney Allen house the same way.
I can check around, but I don't know of another municipality that just sends people out to mow around fire hydrants. I mean, you might get the fire departments to get their volunteers or somebody to do that. You know,
Most of them's mowed pretty close with when VDOT comes through, don't they?
yeah. I mean, it's like,
How does VDOT keep from hitting them?
They sometimes do.
Well, this one, that Ms. Hall was talking about is far enough off the road to where VDOT wouldn't hit it. Yeah. And the first time she ever contacted me about it, I couldn't find it. I like never found it.
Where exactly is it, Robbie?
Do you know where she lives at? Do you know where Tony?
Send
If you,
it down there too, Ronnie.
It's near Chances Creek and.
it's,
And
well,
all
it's,
around.
it's, if you know where the pump station is on Fancy Gap, I mean, on, Reed side,
Yeah,
if you come back out probably,
It's across from 410.
I don't know, 500 miles. I mean, 500 yards.
yeah.
Out from that, it's
Road.
and it's across the road from 410 at her house.
Okay.
And-
That's where they get water several years ago, real down the mountain,
I think they were getting that out there at,
I know.
right on the.
right there at the stores, the stations out there.
So I guess my point would be, what is that, in answer to her concern?
That's not on.
Well, the scouts used to do projects for Eagle Scouts.
So you're saying it's on county
Would take
property?
a section
No, it's
off,
on-
paint
it's on
them and
state
trim
right.
around them
Oh,
County right.
to get their merit badge.
Like in front of her house, they would be responsible.
So it would be state.
Have they
it'd be
quit
state
doing anything
responsibility.
too?
Nah, I doubt they would do it.
I'd have to check.
And.
Cause they done them all in the
Most
county
see
one year.
those, but-
Every hydrant in the county, the scouts done like
Good for the top
four
gas.
guys.
I've been looking for them ever.
Cause we furnished paint for them.
Yeah.
Is Reed Boy Scouts in there?
I mean,
Well,
you know,
they don't get
it's
out
like,
around it.
most of us agree that if it's in somebody's yard or in somebody's gonna take care of it.
Right.
I mean, if there was a fire hydrant in my yard, you bet I'd mow around it, keep it clean. But these that are in like those situations like that, and I think somebody just said something about one on, Gary did across from the Sydney Allen home, they're growed up around because there's nobody to take care of, nobody to maintain them. And we need to be a little bit more efficient about it somehow, maybe to figure out a way to do it.
I mean, yeah, that'd pretty much be a full-time job, you know,
Well,
some
like-
weeks it's hard just to get all the well sites.
We can't get, convicts to do that.
We had them out here doing some work, you know, last week and stuff. It's difficult to get it done. I mean, we'll make it happen. I mean, I can go out there and spray them with weed killer and 5 feet around them, but then they're gonna complain that I have a 5-foot round spot that the grass is all dead around, you know? I mean, if you're gonna mow them every 3 weeks or something, I guess you could do it, but, I mean, then you're looking at cutting brush and, I mean, it's nothing's ever simple, you know? If we, you know, I don't know of anybody. I had fire hydrant in my yard and I mowed around it, made sure it's nice. If there's bush around, I cut it. I've had them in a town and the bush grows all the way around them almost before you can see them. And then we go out to cut them and the next thing you know, the neighbors that person's mad because you done cut part of the bush.
Well, when Glenn Edmonds worked for the sheriff's department, they walked Snake Creek Road and picked up trash. And that wouldn't be no different. He can drive along behind them, wherever who looked after that now, day reporting, and take one person and clean around them hydrants. And that don't cost us nothing, because we're already paying the day reporting person.
I have to check on that because
You want to put that on the agenda, we'll discuss it next month?
Please.
Yeah, let's put it back on the agenda, please.
Is that all you got, Mr. Collins?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Hill,
I don't have anything.
Mr. McCraw?
Have we got the Fancy Gap water pump back,
Probably
well
fair.
back on yet?
There today, we had a gopher come, cause they thought it was a electrical problem, then ended up, after he came, Niven Brothers came today, got it going. We've not put it back online. Joe's gonna put
Okay.
it back online this week after he goes and replaces it.
Okay. And
They came today.
that's awesome. And the grants that we've done for the water hookups, where do we stand on those?
We still got about, 50%.
Okay,
and a lot of them are boards.
okay.
So
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Moore?
I don't, just thank staff for everything and our guys for what they're doing, and thank goodness after 4 years, we finally got the sewer.
All right, I thank the staff and everyone, of course, what you do. One thing I do still want to talk about, maybe on the agenda for next month, is the hookup rates. I still want to talk about getting them decreased. If you can add that for discussion. Other than that, I have a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Motion, to have a second.
Second.
Second, start the vote, Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
and I vote yes.